What if I told you that a Washington quarter you spent on a pack of gum in 1983 might be worth thousands today? And worse, you'd never even know you had it. Let me take you back to a quiet autumn afternoon in 2006. James, a retired Navy machinist, was sorting through his late brother's belongings. Amongst old medals, faded letters, and forgotten photos, he found a dusty mason jar, filled with coins. The kind we all used to toss in a drawer and forget. That he nearly gave the whole jar to a neighborhood kid collecting quarters for a school project. But one coin caught his eye. A 1981 Washington quarter. Nothing flashy, until he looked closer. That one, ordinary-looking coin, a Philadelphia mint quarter, ended up changing everything. You see, the 1981 Washington quarter is one of the most deceptively elusive modern coins in the collector world. Why? Because nearly every single one was released into circulation, and very, very few were preserved in pristine condition, just everyday quarters. Spent. Lost. Forgotten. And here's where it gets interesting. Finding one in high-grade condition, especially MS65 or higher, is incredibly rare. In fact, in top condition, it can fetch hundreds to even thousands of dollars at auction. Why? Low survival rate in mint state, no uncirculated sets, and a surprisingly sharp demand among serious registry collectors chasing the elusive, perfect, modern set. A woman from Illinois emailed me last year. She remembered using a shiny 1981 quarter from her father's collection to pay for coffee. Just a week before she learned about the coin's value on a forum. That quarter? Probably an MS66. Today, it would have sold for over $1,500. We never think twice about what we give away, until it's gone. And that's the lesson, my friend. You don't miss the coin, until you realize what it could have meant. So here's how you can check your own quarters. Look for the small p just right of Washington's ponytail. Condition matters most. The coin should look nearly untouched, nowhere scratches or dents, sharp details on the eagle's feathers and tail. That's a good sign. If you spot full luster and minimal contact marks, you might be holding gold in disguise. Think you've got one? Don't guess, submit it to PCGS or NGC, the top coin grading companies. Or take it to a reputable coin dealer who understands modern conditional rarities, not just silver content. What if a simple quarter from your childhood, the one you flipped for heads or tails in 1966, could be worth hundreds, or even thousands today? Let me ask you this, when was the last time you checked the change sitting in your kitchen drawer, collecting dust since the 70s? There's a story that still gives me goosebumps. A retired schoolteacher in Ohio, Miss Helen, was going through her late husband's belongings. He'd kept an old mason jar of coins by the garage workbench. She almost gave them to the grandkids for play money, until one quarter caught her EYE.NO mint mark. 1966, something felt different. She remembered her husband saying, "Some coins are worth more than their face. You just have to know which ones." Turns out, that unassuming little coin was a key to a forgotten piece of American minting history. Now here's the truth, most 1966 quarters aren't rare, but some of them are, and here's why. In 1965, the U.S. Mint stopped putting mint marks on coins as part of a broader effort to stop coin hoarding due to the rising value of silver. So in 1966, all quarters were struck without a mint mark, making it nearly impossible to tell where they were made. However, a small number of 1966 quarters were struck on leftover silver planchets by mistake, instead of the standard copper nickel. That mistake, a valuable one. Those rare silver planchet quarters can fetch $500 to over $1,000, depending on condition, and many folks don't even know they exist. Let me tell you something that breaks my heart. A gentleman named George, a Navy veteran, found one of these in pristine condition at a yard sale. It felt heavier, almost smoother. He shrugged and spent it on coffee and a gas station scratch ticket. If only he'd looked twice. If only he'd known. These coins are still out there, quietly passing from hand to hand, lost in drawers, forgotten in piggy banks. So, what should you be looking for? Here's how you might just strike numismatic gold. Date must be 1966. Nothing more, nothing less. No mint mark. Under "In God We Trust," it should be completely blank. Check the edge. If there's no copper strip and it looks pure silver all the way around, you might have a silver planchet error. It should feel heavier. Silver weighs more than the regular clad. A jewelry scale might help. Listen for the ring. Silver coins make a higher pitched sound when tapped. That if you think you've got one, don't guess, get it verified by professionals like PCGS or NGC, or show it to a trusted coin dealer in your town. They'll help you know if it's the real deal, and what it might be worth. That old jar in your garage, the drawer in your kitchen, the one you've meant to clean for years, it could hold more than memories, it could hold a piece of lost American history. Maybe even a gift your younger self left behind, just waiting to be rediscovered. What if I told you a quarter from 1983, the kind you once used to buy a Coke, could now be worth over $15,000, and you might have one tucked away in a jar at home? Stay with me, because this isn't just about money. It's about memory, mystery, and maybe a second chance. That it was a warm afternoon in small-town Ohio. A man named Harold, now in his 70s, was sorting through an old box of coins left by his father, the kind of box we all have somewhere. Dusty. Forgotten. Filled with Eisenhowers, Lincolns, and nickels worn smooth by time, but there, beneath a buffalo nickel, was a simple 1983 quarter. Scratched, but somehow different. That he almost tossed it in the spend pile. But something made him stop. The edges felt off. The coin had no luster, no shine, almost like it had been struck on sandpaper. Curious, he looked it up, that little 25-cent piece. It changed everything. The 1983 P. Washington quarter is no ordinary coin. It was struck during a time when the U.S. Mint wasn't producing uncirculated coin sets, meaning very few pristine examples survived. Most were tossed into circulation. Used. Spent. Forgotten. But here's the twist: some 1983 P quarters were struck with a dramatic die error, leading to what's known as a double die reverse, a type of minting mistake where the back of the coin shows doubled images, especially on the word e pluribus unum. Combine that with the fact that 1983 quarters had notoriously weak strikes and poor quality, and any well-preserved example, error or not, is extremely rare. One such coin, in mint condition with the error, sold for over $15,000. Now here's where it hurts. A woman named Cheryl from North Carolina called a local dealer. She remembered using a shiny old quarter to pay for parking, one her father told her to keep, just in case. Later, she saw a post online about the 1983 P. She traced the serial on her coin jar and realized it was gone. That very coin may have been one of the rarest quarters ever minted, all because she didn't know what to look for. Want to check if you have the coin? Look closely at the words e pluribus unum. Do the letters appear doubled? The eagle's wings or arrows may also show doubling. Condition matters. The fewer the scratches, the higher the value. Think you've got a winner? Take it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. Or visit a trusted local coin dealer, preferably one affiliated with the American Numismatic Association, ANA, and never clean the coin. That can destroy its value instantly. That old jar in your kitchen? The one your kids roll their eyes at? It might just hold your future, or at least, a piece of your past worth rediscovering. Coins aren't just metal, they're moments in time. Echoes of our childhood. Of our parents. Of a slower, simpler America. So don't let history slip through your fingers. What if the humble quarter in your kitchen drawer, the one you nearly spent on a gumball in 1989, could now be worth hundreds, or even more? This isn't a fantasy, it's the true story of the mysterious 1987 P. Washington quarter dollar, a coin that slipped past millions, hiding something only the sharpest eyes would ever notice. Let me take you back. It was a quiet fall morning in Ohio, 2004. An old man named Walter, a retired school janitor, was sorting through his late wife's coin jars. Not for treasure, mind you, he just missed her handwriting on the labels. He picked up a 1987 quarter, nothing special at first. Until he flipped it. Something was off. The P mint mark looked odd. The eagle's feathers weren't as crisp, almost ghost-like. Curious, he sent it off to be examined. Weeks later, he got a letter. This isn't just a coin, this is a rare strike-through error from the Philadelphia Mint. Only a handful like this exist. That one moment, that one coin, changed everything. Walter never sold it. He framed it, next to a photo of his wife, and told his grandson, "This little quarter brought me back to her." So what makes the 1987 Washington $quarter special? While most 1987 quarters are common, a few escape the U.S. Mint with unusual errors and misstrikes. Some have clipped planchets, a chunk of the coin is missing, die breaks, cracks or raised lines from worn-out dies, missing mint marks or double dies, tiny doubling on the lettering or image, and in some extremely rare cases, a ghost strike, where the image appears weak, misaligned, or struck through grease or debris. These are mistakes, but they skyrocket the coin's value, sometimes fetching $100 to $500 or more depending on the error and condition. Now here's the part that stings. A woman in Texas recently learned her husband had spent her late father's coin collection, including two 1987 quarters, at a gas station for snacks. A few months later, one exactly like hers sold at auction $4,785. That's not just money lost, that's a story erased. How many of us have let memories slip through our fingers without knowing? Want to check if you have the treasure? Here's what to look for. Look for the P, Philadelphia, on the obverse front, just next to Washington's ponytail weak or missing details doubling on Liberty or In God We Trust, chips, cracks, or a curved edge, clipped planchet, a faint or ghost-like strike. Think you've got one? Don't guess. Contact PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, or visit a reputable local dealer. Many offer free consultations. Always photograph your coin front and back, and never clean it. That can ruin its value. So here's your moment. That dusty jar on top of the fridge? That drawer in your dad's old workbench? They might be hiding something worth more than money. They might hold a piece of your family's story. What if I told you there's a common-looking quarter from 1988 that could be worth hundreds, maybe thousands, and it might be hiding in your change jar right now? Yes, the same kind of quarter you used to slot into an arcade game, or toss into a payphone to call home. This isn't just about money, it's about memory, mystery, and a piece of American history that's quietly turning heads in the coin world. Picture this: a retired veteran named Harold, living quietly in Ohio, sorting through an old coffee tin filled with spare change. Coins he'd been tossing in there since the late 80s. One morning, while reminiscing over his morning paper, Harold pulls out a shiny 1988 Washington quarter. It looked normal. Worn, sure. Nothing fancy. But something felt off. Curious, he took it to a local dealer. The expert's eyes widened. Harold's humble quarter turned out to be an extremely rare error coin, one with a misaligned die strike and a bold D mint mark, struck slightly off-center. That little piece of metal fetched him over $1,200 at auction. That's not a fairy tale. That's reality. So why is the 1988 Washington quarter so special? While most 1988 quarters are worth exactly 25 cents, a few, just a tiny handful, have mint errors that collectors will pay big money for. These include off-center strikes, double dies, where the image appears slightly shadowed or doubled, clipped planchets, a coin with a chunk missing from a miscut, and sometimes, the coin was struck on the wrong metal blank entirely. The D mint mark means it was struck in Denver, and Denver had a small run of these unusual errors before quality control caught it. One viewer messaged me recently. He said, "My granddaughter took some of my old coins to school for a project. I'm pretty sure one was that 1988 quarter you talked about. I asked for a photo. She'd already traded it for a bag of candy. That's a tough one. Because here's the truth, most people don't realize what they're holding until it's gone. Date must be 1988. Look for the D mint mark, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Check for misprints. Is anything off-center, blurred, or doubled? Odd shape? Look for clipped edges or missing pieces, wrong color or weight. You may have a coin struck on the wrong metal, and remember, some of the rarest errors are hard to spot without magnification, so don't trust your eyes alone. If you think you've got something, don't spend it. Instead, visit a certified dealer or submit it to PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, for expert grading. You can even post photos on reputable collector forums for a second opinion. Listen, that little coin from 1988, it's more than metal. It's a memory. A moment in time. A whisper from the past that could change your future. That old jar in your kitchen? It might just hold your next treasure. If this stirred something in you, hit subscribe to Timeless Treasures, where we help you find history hiding in plain sight. What if the quarter you dropped in a vending machine 30 years ago was now worth thousands? Yes, one ordinary-looking coin from 1990, stamped with a D for Denver, has become the center of collectors' whispers, treasure hunters' dreams, and more than a few family regrets. Picture this. It's 1991. A father in Oklahoma empties his pockets after a long shift. He places his loose change in a ceramic jar, one of those blue and white speckled ones grandma used to keep on the counter. Years pass. That jar moves from kitchen to attic, attic to garage sale. 30 years later, a young man, the grandson, finds the jar in a box marked Dad's Tools. He takes the coins to a local shop, and walks away with $3,500. Why? Because nestled among those dull old quarters was one extraordinary piece, the 1990 D Washington quarter with a rare and priceless mistake. So, what makes this coin so special? Well, most 1990 D quarters are worth 25 cents, but a tiny number of them were struck without their mint mark. A D that should appear just to the right of Washington's ponytail. This minting error wasn't supposed to happen. The machines used to stamp coins at the Denver Mint that year were meticulously maintained, but somehow, a few slipped through. And once these error coins left the mint, they blended right in, just ordinary quarters, until someone with a sharp eye, or a bit of luck, discovered the truth. There's a well-known case of a woman in Colorado who thought she had one of these error quarters. She found it while cleaning out her late husband's tackle box. But she gave it to a neighbor's kid, thinking it was just an old quarter with a scratch. That kid? He posted it online. A collector snapped it up for over $2,000. She never saw it again. Moments like that, they hurt. Because the value was right there, and she had no idea. So here's what you should look for. Grab that old change jar, and check your quarters. Look for the mint mark. A small D should be next to Washington's ponytail. But if that D is missing, and everything else looks normal, you might be holding a no mint mark Denver quarter, a rare mint error. If you think you have one, don't guess, send it to trusted experts like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. They can confirm authenticity, and maybe help you get it to auction. Or visit a reputable coin dealer near you. Not the pawn shop down the street, someone who knows minting history. Listen, that old coffee can in your closet, the one with bus tokens, wheat pennies, and mystery dimes, it might hold more than memories. It might hold your future. So, before you cash in your change for a latte, take a second look. Because sometimes, history hides in plain sight. What if a simple quarter, yes, just 25 cents from 1992, could quietly be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars today? You may have held it in your hand and let it go, or it might still be sitting in that old candy tin on your shelf. Let me take you back to a rainy afternoon in rural Ohio. A widower named Harold, now in his late 70s, was sorting through his late wife's coin jars. Just little things she'd saved over the years, quarters, dimes, nickels, some still sticky from kids' hands decades ago. He wasn't expecting anything special. But tucked between two worn pennies was a 1992 Washington quarter, plain as can be, except it wasn't. It had a tiny P mint mark and a look, just a little too sharp. Something told him not to toss it in with the parking meter changed. He sent it in for grading. 2 months later, Harold got a call. That ordinary-looking coin was a 1992 P close AM quarter, a rare minting anomaly. The coin sold at auction for enough to renovate his entire house and pay for his granddaughter's college tuition. So, what is this mysterious 1992 P Washington quarter? Here's where it gets interesting. Most quarters have normal spacing between the A and M in America on the back, but a tiny batch from the Philadelphia Mint in 1992 was struck with the close AM reverse design. Intended for proof coins only, that means the letters A and M in America are almost touching. This was a minting error. A mix-up. And that little mistake, today, collectors are willing to pay a fortune for it. Now here's the heartbreaking part. Hundreds, maybe thousands, of these rare quarters were unknowingly spent on gas, gumballs, and coffee over the last 3 decades. One man reportedly paid a vending machine with 3 close AM quarters, worth $10,000 total, without ever knowing, gone in a blink. Don't let that be your story. Date must be 1992. Look for a tiny P mint mark under Washington's ponytail, Philadelphia Mint. Flip the coin. On the reverse, the back, look at the word America. The A and M should be very close together, nearly touching. That's the rare close AM. Think you've got one? Don't guess. Send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. Or take it to a certified coin dealer for a second opinion. A $25 check could lead to a $2,500 payday. What if I told you that a simple quarter, yes, just 25 cents, could be worth thousands today, and it might already be sitting in that old coin jar in your kitchen drawer? Let me take you back to 1998. A retired schoolteacher named Helen in rural Ohio was rolling coins to take to the bank, part of her spring cleaning ritual. She found a shiny 1993 quarter, flipped it, smiled, and dropped it into the roll like any other. But that coin wasn't like the rest. It was a rare 1993 Washington quarter, Philadelphia Mint, with a nearly invisible but valuable error. Years later, a collector in a neighboring town would discover the same type of quarter and auction it for over $2,000. As for Helen's coin? Lost in circulation, a fortune spent on a pack of gum.so. What's the deal with the 1993 P Washington quarter? Most quarters from that year are common, sure. But a select few have striking errors, double dies, off-center strikes, or weak reverse imprints. These were minted at the Philadelphia Mint, marked by the tiny P on the front. Even more mysterious are rumors, and sightings, of proof-quality errors slipping into general circulation. Clean mirror fields, sharp details, and features you'd only expect on collector-grade coins, all hiding in plain sight. My dad used to collect quarters, we cashed them in when he passed. Or, I had a jar of 90s change, took it to Coinstar last summer. Breaks my heart every time. Because the 1993 P quarter isn't just a coin, it's a time capsule. And losing it is like letting a piece of your own history slip away. Here's how to know if you're holding something special. Think you've got a winner? Don't guess, submit it to PCGS or NGC, 2 trusted coin grading services. Or, take it to a local coin dealer who knows what to look for. That dusty coffee tin in the attic, the one filled with coins your grandkids play with, it might just hold a treasure, not just in dollars, but in memories. So before you spend your change, spend a moment. What if the quarter you dropped in a vending machine back in 1994 could be worth thousands today? Yes, you heard me right. A single Washington quarter, the kind you likely have in a dusty drawer or old coin jar, could hold a mystery, a mistake, and a mini fortune. It was late autumn in Omaha, 2007. A retired schoolteacher named Marie was sorting through her late husband's coin collection, nothing fancy, just jars of spare change he'd saved since the 70s. Nestled between some dull nickels and tarnished dimes was a quarter that looked off. Something about it shimmered differently. It had a 1994 date and a tiny D just below Washington's ponytail. Marie almost tossed it in with the rest, until a neighbor, a hobbyist coin collector, spotted something peculiar. That one coin later sold for over $2,000 at auction, and Marie? She said it felt like her husband left her one last little surprise. So, what made this 1994 D Washington quarter so special? It wasn't just the date, it was the rare minting error that occurred at the Denver Mint. Some 1994 D quarters were struck off-center, had double dies, or were made on the wrong metal planchet, meaning the wrong kind of coin blank was used. These are accidental masterpieces, and they're extremely collectible. A common quarter accidentally struck with an uncommon flaw, and suddenly, it's worth more than your monthly pension check. Now, here's the heartbreaker: dozens, maybe hundreds, of these rare 1994 D quarters have been spent unknowingly. A man in Kansas reportedly used 3 of them to pay for coffee and never knew he'd just handed over almost $6,000 worth of coins. Gone. That's why this matters. Coins like these hide in plain sight, just waiting to be discovered, or lost forever to the jingle of spare change. Here's what you need to look for in your own stash. Date must be 1994. Look for the D mint mark just below Washington's ponytail. That's from the Denver Mint. Check for errors like off-center strike, doubled images, especially in the words, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty." Wrong metal. It may sound different when dropped or look slightly off color. If you think you found one, don't guess. Send it to professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm its authenticity, grade it, and even help connect you with buyers. Or take it to a reputable coin dealer, but get more than one opinion before selling. Remember those summer days collecting pennies, or that glass jar your father kept in the shed? What if the quarter you tossed in a gumball machine back in 1994 could be worth over $2,000 today? Yes, one ordinary-looking coin, with one tiny mistake, could change your story. Let me tell you about Edna, a retired schoolteacher from Ohio. She'd saved coins for years in an old glass jar her husband gave her before he passed. Nothing fancy, just pocket change. One quiet afternoon, she sat at her kitchen table, sorting through them with a cup of tea and a head full of memories. Among the nickels and pennies, a 1994 quarter caught her eye. Just something about the way it shimmered, a little different. She almost threw it back in the jar, but something told her to take a closer look. That one moment of curiosity led her to discover a rare mint error coin worth nearly $3,000, all from a jar she almost gave away to her grandson for arcade tokens. So what made that 1994 quarter so valuable? It's called the 1994 P Washington quarter with a double die reverse error. Let's break that down simply. The P mint mark means it was minted in Philadelphia. On some of these quarters, a rare minting error caused the design on the back, especially the eagle's wings or the word quarter dollar, to be doubled, like a ghostly shadow printed over the original. These doubling errors are almost invisible at a glance, but to collectors, they're gold. And since these weren't meant to happen, very few exist. In 2003, a man in Florida found a 1994 P quarter with that doubling error. He spent it on a soda without even realizing what he had. That same coin, if graded in mint condition today, could fetch thousands. Let that sink in. How many times have we spent a coin without looking, just because it seemed too ordinary? Think you've got something? Don't guess. Get it verified. Reach out to PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, or visit a trusted local coin dealer, the kind with magnifiers on the counter and stories in their eyes. That dusty jar in the kitchen, that old coffee tin in the attic, it doesn't just hold coins. It holds moments, memories, and maybe, just maybe, your next chapter. So don't let history slip through your fingers. What if the quarter jingling in your pocket right now was worth thousands? What if that everyday coin from 1995 could change your life today? Let me take you back. It was a chilly autumn morning in Missouri. Old Henry, a retired postal worker with a heart full of memories and a drawer full of loose change, sat at his kitchen table sipping coffee. He didn't have much, just his pension, his stories, and that rusty old jar of coins he'd been tossing spare change into since the early 80s. One day, out of pure nostalgia, he decided to clean it out, maybe pass some coins to his grandson. But when he picked up a 1995 Washington quarter with a tiny D under, "In God We Trust," something felt different. That one coin, worn but gleaming oddly in the light, would soon lead him to one of the biggest surprises of his life, and a small fortune he never expected. You see, the 1995 D Washington quarter might look like any ordinary coin, but some of these quarters were struck with unusual die errors, imperfections during minting that make them extremely valuable to collectors. Most were minted just fine, but a few rare errors slipped through: double dies, off-center strikes, and even quarters with missing or partially stamped features. Combine that with the Denver Mint's unique output that year, and you've got a coin that's both mysterious and incredibly rare. Some have sold for hundreds to even thousands of dollars, depending on condition and the type of error. But here's the part that hurts. Just last year, a woman from Colorado unknowingly spent her 1995 D double die quarter at a vending machine for a bottle of soda. She had no idea it was worth nearly $3,500. And the worst part? It was a gift from her late husband, a coin he always said felt a little off. Gone, just like that. Because she didn't know what to look for. So how do you know if your 1995 quarter is one of these hidden treasures? Check for these signs. Date must be 1995. Look for the D mint mark under, "In God We Trust," stands for Denver. Check for doubling on the words Liberty or In God We Trust. Look closely. Inspect for off-center images, blurry edges, or unusual features. Coins in near mint or uncirculated condition are especially valuable. What if that quarter you dropped in a vending machine back in 1995 was actually worth over $1,000 today? Yes, a single Washington quarter, just like the ones you've held 1,000 times before, could now be a rare collector's prize, hiding in plain sight. Picture this: it's 1995. Your grandkids are watching Toy Story for the first time. You've got a fresh roll of quarters for laundry day, and one of them, just one, feels a little different. A man named Arthur, a retired school teacher in Ohio, found that exact quarter in a change jar 2 decades later. He wasn't a collector. Just cleaning out the garage when the glint of that old coin caught his eye. He almost gave it to his grandson for an arcade token, but something told him to hold on. That instinct? It earned him $1,300 at auction. So what's the secret behind this unassuming 1995 Washington quarter? It's all in the error, a rare misprint that only occurred in a small batch at the Philadelphia Mint, the double die obverse, where Washington's profile, and especially the word Liberty, appears slightly doubled. Due to a misalignment during minting. It only happened with a small number of coins, and most were unknowingly spent, lost, or forgotten. Hundreds of these rare coins were handed to cashiers, dropped in gumball machines, or lost in couch cushions. One story goes, a coin dealer once bought a full jar of 1990s quarters at a yard sale, and resold them for face value. Weeks later, another collector found a 1995 double die quarter in the same neighborhood. A difference of $1,200, all for a coin someone didn't know was special. Here's how you can check if you've got one of these hidden treasures. Date must be 1995 mint mark, P, Philadelphia. Look to the right of Washington's ponytail. Check for doubling on the word Liberty, In God We Trust, or Washington's eye and chin. They may look slightly blurred or thickened. Use a magnifying glass or phone zoom to examine closely. Coins in good condition are more valuable, but even circulated ones can be worth hundreds.